Eu lucrez la proiectul MyLab, Moldova Innovation Lab. Asta e un proiect comun al Organizației Națiunilor Unite, Program pentru Dezvoltare și Guvernul Republicii Moldova. Și acum am să vă povestesc ce facem, cu ce ne ocupăm și ce putem să vă oferim ca să aplicați și în business, în sector privat. So, MyLab, or Moldova Innovation Lab, as I have already mentioned, is a joint project of the United Nations Development Program and the government of the Republic of Moldova. And the main scope of this project is to promote the innovative approaches in the public sector and to enhance the efficiency of public sector of the Republic of Moldova. So, actually, we are working for 3 years already, and we are geographically located in the center of the government, in the State Chancellor of the Republic of Moldova. And we are applying 3 service lines in our activities in order to improve the quality of the public sector in Moldova and to promote the innovations. The first service line is related with the application of human-centered design. It's a methodology which is based on the needs and expectations of the users, and about which I will talk more thoroughly during the presentation. And this methodology in particular we are using in order to improve the quality of public services in the Republic of Moldova. And we had a couple of pilot projects during these years, like the modernization of the child care benefits to improve this service, like the modernization of the joint information and service bureaus. It's like a one-stop shop for public service delivery in the Republic of Moldova. Like the change of the residence change process, public service, which is applied by their state-owned enterprise register. So it's the first direction we're working with. It's modernization of public services, applying human-centered design. The second direction is the application of data in order to improve the policy-making process in the Republic of Moldova. And in this case, we're working with big data, with the application of open data, creating new sources for the data in order to have more evidence-based processes for the policymaking in the Republic of Moldova. And here, for instance, one of the most speaking examples now we're working with on the elaboration of the public service evaluation tool. It's a tool which will allow the public institution in the Republic of Moldova to evaluate, to assess the satisfaction of citizens with the quality of public services. And what is their distinct feature during this process when we are working at this tool or instrument? We were applying, first of all, human-centered design. It's a part of our first service line. We were trying to look into the expectation of users, of citizens, on how this public service evaluation should look like based on their insights, based on their interests and needs. And second one, we are creating a new data flow for the public institution, National Chamber of Social Insurance we are working with, in order to adopt these data into their daily processes, into their daily business processes. And based on these data, the institutions will take decisions for the modernization or for the re-engineering of public services in the Republic of Moldova. So our third direction is basically the crowdsourcing of ideas for better policy making in Moldova. And we're trying to engage with the citizens on the elaboration of solutions for different issues existing in our country. So these are 3 service lines we're working with. But today in particular, I would like to focus on some of the methods or some of the tools we're using in our work, because as I see and as we see, these methods can be very useful for the business, for the public, for the private sector as well. So let's talk about the human-centered design. Actually, this is a methodology which is mostly was promoted by the public sector, starting from Denmark and from the private sector. And the main feature, the main distinct feature of this methodology is that it is focused on the user's needs mostly. For instance, let's look at this picture and let's see why we have successful design from the left side, from the right side, and not very successful from the left side. So actually, when you are buying scissors, and you're buying this package with scissors, you see that in order to open this package, you need a pair of another scissors. So it's an example of bad design thinking. If we're looking on the right side, we see that we have a bag of shoes, of sport shoes from the Puma, And actually, when you want to open this bag of shoes, you don't need any other devices. You can open it by yourselves, and moreover, this bag can be used by yourself for some other besides activities. And actually, it's an example of good design. So here's an example of how design thinking is applied in practice. It is an example of the hackathon. You know what hackathon is. It's like an exercise where different groups of people are gathering in order to develop a solution for the issue. And it was a hackathon in the United Kingdom where people were trying to find the solutions for people with the arms disabilities. So we see that these people do not have their arms, and in order to have a tea or to have hot water, they need a kettle. And the conventional kettle doesn't work for their situation. That's why these people, they were working for a couple of days in order to identify the solution for people with their arms disabilities. And as a result, together with the target beneficiaries, together with the engineers and some other specialists, they figure out a solution. So the kettle, based on good design and good human-centered design, should look like this. So I don't know if anybody of you has heard about the iron chair. Actually, it's been considered as one of the best or even the best chair in the world. And people who are working with human-centered design, they always say that this chair is a perfect example how human-centered design should work in the business and private sector. So the history of this chair is that people, one of the company which created this chair, they were working on the elaboration of the perfect design for the chair and how a perfect chair should look like. They were analyzing about 220 people's corpse, people's bodies, in order to see the distinct features of their corpse, how their corpse differs one from each other. They were analyzing different materials in order to make this chair ecologically friendly. And when they did it, this chair can repel the heat and it can repel the moisture as well. So, and for the elaboration of this chair, different groups of people were working, like engineers, like IT specialists, like ironografts, like orthopeds, and so forth. So it was a very common collaborative approach in order to develop a product that will satisfy the needs and expectations of different groups and majority groups of people. So when we are talking about the human-centered design or design thinking, what is the main value added of this? I like this slide because a lot of people nowadays are talking about big data and how big data can be applied in our businesses in order to analyze our products, our business strategies. But I would like to mention the thick data. I don't know if anybody of you has heard about this notion. So thick data is data which are based mostly on the humans' experiences, on humans' needs. And it's very important, it's essentially to have big data when you're analyzing your products or you want to develop some strategy. But behind the big data, behind the figures, some human stories should stay in order to have more broad picture, in order to elaborate the product which will genuinely respond to the customer's needs you're working with. So why do we need thick data? Because if we want to have an impact of our business, of our product, numbers need stories and vice versa. So this is a short table about the difference between thick data and big data. Because we all know what big data are, so they mostly relies on machine learning. And when we're talking about thick data, we're talking about the human learning, about the experience of people we would like to look at. When we're talking about the big data, we are talking about the quantified data points and the insights which are based on figures. When we look at the thick data, we're trying to reveal the social context of connection between data points. So we're trying to look at the context where people live, the environment where people are situated. So thick data accepts a reducible complexity. And when we're talking about big data, we're talking mostly about the variables which are trying to identify some patterns based on these variables. And thick data, actually, it loses the scale, But when you're talking about big data, we're losing the resolution because we have very big picture of the solution we're trying to work at. So I would like to tell you about one example of the company Nokia. I think you have heard about this company. Now it still exists, but actually it has sunk. So in 2010, there was one specialist, one data specialist who was working at Nokia, and he was analyzing the different trends on the market, on the smartphone markets, and he was working mostly in China. And he was trying to look into the future and to see what is the future of the smartphones and what business strategies should Nokia have in order to respond to these futures and to the expectations of the customers. And he analyzed the 100 people with different profiles in order to see what are the needs and expectations in terms of the smartphones and how smartphones should look like based on their insights. And when he came back to the Helsinki office, to the headquarters of Nokia, he mentioned that, look, we should create some smartphones that will be not very expensive and that will respond to the people's needs. And I have these needs because I was working with them in China. But the management of Nokia, they didn't listen to him because they had doubts on the number of people he was working with. And they told him, so look, we're analyzing big data, we have different statistics data, and based on this, our predictions show that we should go to another direction, to a direction different from what you are offering. So as a result, you saw the story of Nokia. The company in 2009, 2010, it was occupying about 40% of the mobile phones market. Now it occupies about 2%, and actually it belongs to Microsoft, I suppose. So this is a very speaking example because, for sure, when we are working with business strategies, when we are working with the analyzing of the problems we're dealing with in our businesses, we should look at the figures. We should look at the data, big data. But it's very important, in particular if you have small and medium enterprise, to look at the expectations and needs of your customers and to see what customers are expecting from you. So we're going... This is how this design process works like. We actually, it's very develop final solution from the start, from the scratch. You're working at the prototype, which is like a solution at small scale, and actually it's like testing the large solution of what you're working at. And it allows you to save money, to save the time. And evaluation and monitoring and evaluation is an integral part of this process. Because all over the process, you have to monitor and to evaluate the solution you are working at, together with your customers or with your users. So, and here are some quotes like, why should we apply design process? Because when you're doing a design, you can assume a beginner's mindset. It's like a start-upper mindset. And people who are working like start-uppers, they have this mindset. But people who are working with the businesses existing for a couple of years, they can look at different issues and to find out the solutions which will be, let's say, more disruptive than the solutions which other businesses are working at. We can embrace experimentation, and this is the stage I was talking about, is prototyping. When we're working on the prototyping stage, we can have 1, 2, 3 different prototypes and to test these prototypes with our users, with our customers. That's how experimentation works. So, and fail often, fail fast. Yeah, it's like a slogan which can be attached to the experimentation stage, but at the same time, when you're failing often and you're failing fast, you can find more faster the solution to your fail. And what are their principles? So they're applying the principle that the purpose of business is to create customers. It's not only to respond to the needs of the customers. So it means that while they say in the following way, while we are working with conventional surveys and we're trying to explore the opinions of people, we're trying to figure out what are the expectations of people with this sociological surveys, we're just looking at the people's opinions. But when we're applying human-centered design, we're trying to create the product along with the citizens and together with the citizens. And it means that customer-centric approach is like understanding and putting customers' needs first in their strategy. And actually, PepsiCo, they applied human-centered design or design thinking from creation of their products, even through supply chain. And it applies to the whole experience of value creation within this company. And they like to speak about this cycle of the human-centered design. They say that we're applying empathy, we're testing our solution, we can meet some failures, but at the same time we can meet the success, and again we're coming back to the empathy. So it's a closed cycle, how PepsiCo works and how PepsiCo applies human-centered design in their work. And actually there are some examples. There are some examples, a couple of examples, how PepsiCo even apply this human-centered design in their work. And we see this Pepsi Spire fountain. It's like a vending machine which is creating different kinds of drinks with different flavors. And when they were working at this machine, you know what they did? They wanted to apply the ID card of each people who were approaching to this machine. And in order to allow this ID card to remind different flavors of drinks, mix of flavors of drinks, which people are ordering while they're approaching to this machine. So in this way, when next time you are coming to this machine, you can put your ID card and the machine will give you a drink with the flavor you have drunk last time. Of course, if you agree to drink it. So in this way, they're trying to attract people to these machines, because people do not need to remind about the drinks they were drinking last time, last evening, and so forth. So this is a kind how human-centered design works in their daily work, in their daily businesses. So another example, these are Doritos chips. Suppose we all eat or have eaten these chips. And when they were working at the Doritos, they were trying to invent a product which will respond to the needs of women, of ladies. And actually the conventional approach to create the products for ladies was like, let's shrink the product or make it pink. So this was the conventional approach when they were inventing different products for people. But when a new CEO came to the office in 2012, they were trying to look at this problem for with the creation of the products for women from another side, from the side of women. And actually what they figure out that what is the difference between men and women? So when men are eating these Doritos and they're finishing these Doritos, they're pouring the rest of the chips into their mouth like this. You know this. So, but women do not do in the same way. And actually, women, when they're eating, they leave some chips in the package. And afterwards, they're putting it somewhere away. But in order to meet their needs and to meet the expectations of women, they put some clips into this package. And you see these clips are designed here on this package. And actually, when women are eating and something remains there, they can close the package with these special clips. And when they want to come back to this package, there is no any problem to open the clip and to eat these chips once again. So this is how human-centered design works in the real world. It works in the transnational corporation like PepsiCo. So does anybody know who this guy is? So, no? Okay. So actually, it's a Nobel Prize winner. So he's Richard Thaler, 2017 Nobel Prize winner. He's very famous for his non-conventional approach in the economics. He was applying behavioral insights and nudges in order to improve the economics all over the world. And this year, he won the Nobel Prize for this. Actually, why I presented him? Because I would like to tell you some words about some other innovative approaches which are applied by Moldova Innovation Lab, by my lab in the public sector. And actually, these approaches can be very useful. It can be very applicable for private sector as well. So I would like to talk about nudges. So you see on the picture how nudge works in real life. So it's like when you're trying to achieve something, you want to nudge somebody in order to have an effect. And actually nudges are interventions that preserve the freedom of choice of people, but at the same time, they can influence people's decisions. From the other side, our decisions are often affected by behavioral biases. So our decisions are very subjective. Instinctively, we favor for default options. We're not trying to complicate the things. And if we have a very simple default options, we are following it. Our choices are contextual, and we are deeply affected by social norms. If somebody is telling you that it is bad, you will listen to this somebody and you will follow his advice. So I would like to give you the examples, some examples of the nudges which are applied in real life by businesses, by public administrations, by local public administrations. So this is an example when the bus company, which is responsible for the public transport in Singapore, was nudging people to travel off-peak in agglomerated Singapore. So they were giving them different pictures like, so you can use our free ride at the public transport, and in this way you will save the money, and you can spend this money for going to somewhere to Dominicana and to spend the time with your wife. Or maybe you can go to the sushi bar, sushi restaurant, and to have very nice sushi. Or you can have a good, fresh, and free tea. So these pictures, they were placed in public transport in order to show the people that if you use the public transport of the peak hours, you can benefit from free trips, and based on this, you can save the money which can be used for these things. So, if we're talking about the default choice and the example from the real life, how it works like, it's the announcement, it's an example of announcement from the Tower of London. And here you can see the admission prices for different categories of people who can enter. And if you look here, you see the price above. You see the price without any surpluses. But if you look at the decodification, what this stars means, it's written there that this admission price is without the donations, 2.5 liras, pounds, I suppose, 2.5 pounds. They were included into the admission price. And below it was written that if you want, you can have the admission price which is placed above, and if you don't want, you can have the real price without any donations. But speaking about the default choice, people actually do not look at the below written text. And if they see that there is a price $24.50 for one adult, they will pay this money for the entrance. And they will not read the decodification like 2.5 pounds, they go into the donations purposes. So this is how the default choice works in a nudge, in the application of nudges. So another example, I think most of us, they were surfing around the TripAdvisor or Booking in an attempt to book a hotel, to book an apartment. And I suppose that some of you have noticed that when you're trying to book a room in the hotel, it is written there that only 3 rooms have left, or only 1 room left, or it is the last room in our hotel. So by this, actually, hotels and this TripAdvisor or booking site, they're trying to nudge us to make a reservation as soon as it is possible in order to spend our money more quicker and to choose this hotel in particular. So this is how the scarcity bias works in the application of nudges. And this is also refers to the buying of the flight tickets. When you are buying the flight tickets, you can have observed that sometimes it is also written there, it's the last flight ticket, or only 7 or 5 flight tickets remain from this category. So this is all. I wanted to present to you some examples how the human-centered design or design thinking can be applied in the private sector, and it can be very useful in order to improve your business processes or to elaborate a new business strategy. And secondly, the behavioral nudges. or behavioral insights. This is also a tool, an instrument that can be very successfully applied in order to achieve the better result with very low investments from your side for your businesses. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, we can discuss further.
Întrebări.
So care este cel mai bun mod? Să avem a doua prezentare și după asta discutăm deja în plen, da? Sau mai bine să colectăm niște întrebări și, da? Ok. So let's have a Q&A sessions and we'll see how it goes.
So first question from my side is about, have you seen any successful business, local business, who have launched any new product on the local market, making use of this technique of human-centered design?
Yeah, very good question for Moldovan context. Actually, I think that human-centered design was brought in Moldova by Milab in 2014, and it was firstly applied in public sector, mostly. And actually, now we heard about some stories about some requests from the part of the private sector who are very interested in the application of this methodology in the elaboration of their new products, or actually some strategies for the development of their businesses. But we have not reached yet to the real application, hands-on application of this methodology in private sector yet. We're mostly, if we're talking about the MyLab, we're working in public sector, and actually we even do not have a right to deliver any services to public sector yet. But I think, I'm sure of it, that this methodology will have a success at private sector, not in Moldova, but in the region as well, because most of the private businesses, they want to tailor their businesses to the people's needs, to the people's expectations. And this is the methodology which allows to do this thing in a very cheap manner, in a very accessible manner. Because there are always challenges at business. There is scarce of resources and scarce of time. And actually we can save the time through application of this methodology. Yeah. Good.
Prezentarea mea este destul de simplă și eu, în principiu, pregătisem o sesiune de întrebări din domeniul vizibilității online, mai exact întrebări din partea voastră la care eu aș putea să răspund și să elucidăm niște misterii dacă ele există. De asta puteți să întrebați în engleză, în rusă, în română, nu contează. Eu cred că am să răspund în română. Sunt traducătorii care poate să răspundă. Putem să începem un pic cu prezentarea asta, dar să nu ne oprim foarte mult la dânsa, ca să putem trece direct la întrebări. Dar mai întâi vă rog să-mi spuneți dacă vor fi întrebări legate de vizibilitatea în online și în special din domeniul SEO. Fiecare dintre voi aveți o afacere sau un site sau sunteți interesați de promovarea unui site sau promovarea în online a unei afaceri? Ok, cred atunci că o să fie mai valoros pentru voi să răspund la întrebările complicate ca să puteți pe urmă să vă apucați direct de sarcini decât să trecem la teorie și să lucruri care până la urmă le puteți afla din online. Bun. Ce este SEO? Cine poate să spună ce este SEO? În orice limbă, cred că limba engleză o cunoaștem fiecare. Cine poate să răspundă la întrebarea ce este SEO? Ok, în principiu, SEO prin definiție înseamnă Search Engine Optimization, ceea ce presupune că optimizarea unui site pentru motoarele de căutare. Adică, în principiu, optimizarea unui site de așa natură ca să atragă un trafic cât mai mare din motoarele de căutare. Este un termen apărut mai ales prin anii 90 la început, însă în timp cumva termenul a evoluat să cuprindă toate sursele de trafic, nu doar motoarele de căutare, ci și alte surse de trafic. Și cine poate să spună acum care sunt sursele de trafic care vin pe un site? Din ce surse poate să vină traficul unui site? Cine poate să spună ce înseamnă traficul direct? Cum ajunge utilizator direct pe un site? Exact, când scrii în browser adresa site-ului, scrii frumos adresa URL și îl accesează. Asta este traficul direct. Vorbim de traficul organic, adică traficul din motoarele de căutare, neplătit. Alte surse de trafic știe cineva? Nu auziți. Nu aveți două microfoane, de exemplu? Bine. Ok. Vorbeam de traficul organic, ceea ce înseamnă traficul venit din motoarele de căutare neplătite. Traficul direct, momentul în care cineva accesează site-ul scriind adresa direct în browser, și traficul CPC, adică traficul care se plătește pentru fiecare click. Ne referim aici în special la reclamele din motoarele de căutare, reclamele de deasupra rezultatelor naturale. Alte surse de trafic știe cineva? Traficul provenit din e-mail-uri, ok. Traficul provenit din social media, ok. Altele? Cum poate să mai... Ok, traficul provenit din Google Maps. Traficul din Google AdWords este asemănător cu traficul CPC. De fapt, CPC-ul este cumva un subcapitol din acest Google AdWords. La fel este și, de exemplu, putem să vorbim de campanii CPM, adică per mie de vizualizări, și este asemănător. Alte surse de trafic știe cineva? Ok, traficul prin recomandări. Modul în care omul ajunge pe site-ul nostru este să dea click pe un link undeva din internet. Ok. Ce voiam să zic, că în principiu SEO a ajuns să cuprindă toate aceste surse de trafic, nu doar motoarele de căutare, nu doar organic, ci toate care le-am numit până acum. Social media, organic, traficul plătit, traficul din recomandări și așa mai departe. Ok. Cine are nevoie de SEO? În principiu, orice om care are o afacere, orice om care are un site și dorește să atragă un trafic cât mai mare, ca eventual să poată să vândă, să poată să convertească acei vizitatori cumva într-o acțiune care este benefică pentru afacerea respectivă, toți oamenii ăștia au nevoie de un site. Dar cine poate să spună ce face exact un expert SEO? Cu ce se ocupă un expert SEO sau o persoană responsabilă de promovarea nemijlocită a unui site? Care sunt sarcinile de bază pe care le face un expert SEO?
Find it quicker?
Meaning what exactly?
I mean, when I am the owner of a business and someone is researching such kind of businesses, my business comes first in the results as a result.
De acord, domnul spune că un expert SEO se ocupă ca să poziționeze site-ul mai sus în rezultatele motorilor de căutare. Totuși, întrebarea este cum credeți voi, cum credeți dumneavoastră, care sunt sarcinile care fac parte din lucrul de zi cu zi al unui expert SEO. Practic, ce anume este obligat să facă un expert SEO ca să crească traficul unui site, în particular ca să poziționeze site-ul mai sus în rezultatele motoarelor de căutare. Deci ce anume ar putea să facă cineva ca un site să trezeze mai sus decât concurenții?
Deci, din câte mi-amintesc eu din cunoștințele mele în domeniu, primele sarcini erau de optimizarea propriu-zisă a conținutului paginii ca să fie ușor identificat de crawleri, de motoarele de căutare, după cuvintele cheie pe care ne focusăm noi. Și din câte țin minte, algoritmul vechi al SEO, al motoarelor de căutare, presupunea în următoarele: să ai un anumit număr de repetări a cuvântului cheie, să ai cât mai multe linkuri care vin din extern către pagina ta pe cuvântul cheie respectiv, să ai tag name-uri ajustate pentru și să ai Da, tag name-uri, hai să zic că nu mi-amintesc exact termenul, în descrierea paginii, să încerci să creezi aceleași cuvinte cheie, să le incluzi chiar și în imaginele care apar pe pagina respectivă, să ai cuvintele cheie incluse în descrierea imaginii. Deci anterior era o încercare de a face cât mai multe repetări a cuvintelor cheie pe care mizai să apare în top în motorul de căutare. Nu știu dacă algoritmul între timp a fost modificat mult sau nu.
Algoritmii motoarelor de căutare sunt modificați practic în fiecare zi, în special ca să elimine rezultatele nefavorabile din căutări și până la urmă să se apropie de ceea ce utilizatorul vede ca o pagină ideală cu rezultate. Bun. În legătură cu totuși ce face un expert SEO, foarte multe din cele pe care le-a spus sunt adevărate sau cândva au fost adevărate, între timp lucrurile s-au mai schimbat, dar un lucru va fi mereu adevărat și pentru ca să vedem exact care lucru este vorba, trebuie să pornim de la ce face exact un motor de căutare. Și în esență un motor de căutare este o mașină de răspunsuri, practic toată ziua el stă și vizitează internetul. Despre Google chiar se spune că poate să facă un download al întregului internet în 5 secunde sau în 6 secunde. Nu știu o fi adevărat sau nu, dar ei declară chestia asta. Bun, în esență este o mașină de a da răspunsuri și el trebuie să rezolve problema omului atunci când omul caută ceva. Deci, un lucru o să fie adevărat mereu despre SEO. Motoarele de căutare vor încerca să dea cele mai importante dintre cele mai rezultate pagini pentru expresia anume de căutare. Deci, pornind de la ideea că omul caută ceva, mai întâi Google o să identifice un subset de pagini relevante care se potrivesc cu expresia de căutare introdusă în caseta de căutare, după care Google le sortează descrescător. Cine poate să-mi spună mai exact ce înseamnă chestia asta? Sau, altfel zis, de ce Google face chestia asta?
În felul ăsta se setează paginile sau prioritatea apariției paginilor se setează în dependență de ranking-ul care îl obține o pagină, da? Deci,
bineînțeles, Google are un scor pe care îl calculează.
Și respectiv aranjează paginile ca prioritate la rezultatul căutărilor pentru cuvintele cheie.
Dar de ce anume cele mai importante dintre cele mai relevante pagini?
Eu, din câte știu, înainte mai exista un sistem prin care experți independenți, angajați ai companiilor motoarelor de căutare, care reprezentau companiile de motoare de căutare, făceau o verificare suplimentară a conținutului paginii pentru a înțelege mai bine dacă conținutul respectiv este apreciat corect de către crawler ca fiind un conținut relevant sau nu. Și respectiv, prioritizarea respectivă putea să fie ajustată inclusiv de factorul uman.
Nu e chiar adevărat, dar face și asta parte din aprecierea relevanței unei pagini. Practic, motoarele de căutare au un anumit machine learning, adică un algoritm în principiu bazat pe machine learning și după ce utilizatorii umani calibrează și setează anumiți parametri pentru acești algoritmi, aceste calculatoare, după asta sunt și ei în stare să judece de sine stătător calitatea unei pagini. Bun, pornind de la ideea că Google mai întâi încearcă să depisteze cele mai relevante și cele mai importante pagini. De fapt, de acolo pornește și sarcinile experților SEO. Practic, jobul dânșilor este să aducă semnale măsurabile și cuantificabile, că iată, o pagină se potrivește cu o expresie de căutare, este absolut relevantă, este foarte prietenoasă, hai să spunem, reprezintă o experiență ideală pentru vizitatorul respectiv în contextul respectiv. Și dacă este și populară, notorie și importantă în nișa pe care o deservește, atunci este, hai să spunem, un candidat foarte bun pentru locul 1. Și cum se face chestia asta? Aducând semnale de calitate și importanță. Acum vorbim despre dânsele. În funcție de lucrul ăsta pe care l-am spus acum, de calitate și importanță, SEO se împarte în două mari categorii și, practic, fiecare sarcină care este în controlul absolut al experților SEO sau în controlul absolut al deținătorilor de site-uri, al programatorilor care lucrează, practic, la echipa de care până la urmă decide soarta unui site și modul cum arată, modul cum este prezentat, viteza de încărcare și așa mai departe, tot ce se află în controlul absolut al echipei de dezvoltare se numește on-page SEO sau on-site SEO și asta se referă la partea de relevanță a unor pagini și a unor site-uri. Pe de altă parte, dacă există factori care nu intră nemijlocit în controlul echipei de promovare, chestia asta o numim off-site SEO sau off-page SEO și se referă la semnalele de importanță, de notorietate și așa mai departe, ceea ce practic nu putem influența în mod direct, dar cumva, într-un context oarecare de împrejurări, asta se întâmplă, oricum se produce și bineînțeles că are importanță când Google evaluează calitatea site-ului. Acum voiam să întreb, cum credeți voi, ce măsuri ați putea lua, ce măsuri ar putea să facă cineva ca să dea niște semnale de calitate sporite unor pagini sau unor site-uri? Adică cum ați putea să optimizați site-ul sau o pagină concretă pentru ca Google să preia aceste semnale de calitate, de relevanță? Cum trebuie să fie un site ca Google să-l perceapă drept calitativ și relevant?
User-friendly și adaptat la platformele sau posibilitatea să le vizualizezi de pe device-uri mobile.
Haideți atunci să încerc să reformulez puțin întrebarea. Să presupunem că avem o căutare concretă, iată, o persoană caută zboruri ieftine spre Istanbul. Ok. Pornind de la intenția de căutare, omul nostru caută zboruri ieftine, probabil vrea să rezerve, fie acum, fie altă dată, nu doar se documentează, vrea chiar să-și plătească. Deci cum trebuie să arate pagina pe care aterizează pentru o experiență ideală de navigare? Cum trebuie să arate pagina de aterizare?
So first of all, I think that the usability of the site is the very important thing here. How much time the customer spends on the website until it makes payment, or how much time it spends until it finds how to make payment. And was it easier for him to find the right button, how to make payment, how to make an order, how much time he spends on it? So I think the time and the conversion, how many people entered your website and how many people made an order. So this is, I think, two key points of the efficiency of the website.
Ok, cred că aș putea să fiu de acord cu majoritatea lucrurilor enunțate adineauri. Trebuie să spun însă că Google nu are acces la traficul unui site și Google nu are acces la conversiile unui site. Ori o conversie este practic o acțiune făcută de un utilizator care este benefică pentru acea afacere sau acel site, cum ar fi, de exemplu, procurarea unui bilet de avion, lăsarea datelor de contact, de exemplu, download-ul unor aplicații mobile, dacă asta este în interesul afacerii și așa mai departe. Orice acțiune care este benefică afacerii sau site-ului se numește conversie. Google sau alte motoare de căutare nu au niciun fel de acces la date precum traficul site-ului sau cu atât mai mult conversiile, pentru că, bineînțeles, ele se pot întâmpla și în offline, nu neapărat în online. De asta ar fi incorect ca să ia o decizie cu privire la poziționarea unor site-uri în rezultatele căutărilor în baza unor date incomplete sau poate corupte uneori. Totuși, bineînțeles că viteza de încărcare a paginii trebuie să fie cât mai mare, asta este un criteriu foarte mare de calitate. Pagina trebuie să fie relevantă în sensul în care rezolvă problema omului de o manieră foarte rapidă, într-un mod sigur, ceea ce presupune automat că, de exemplu, conexiunea trebuie să fie securizată, plata trebuie să fie securizată, experiența și în offline trebuie să fie acceptabilă cel puțin, dacă nu chiar foarte bună și așa mai departe. În esență, modul în care Google apreciază pagina este în felul următor. Prima dată evaluează adresa URL a unei pagini, care putem să spunem despre adresa URL că este cel mai scurt rezumat al unei pagini. Practic, din adresa URL, dacă am putea să o scriem undeva, hai să spunem cu creta pe asfalt, omul care citește această adresă URL trebuie să știe imediat pe ce fel de pagină și cu ce fel de experiență va ateriza odată ce dă click. Următoarele semnale de relevanță se referă la titlul paginii și metadescriere. Asta sunt niște chestii un pic mai tehnice, dar bineînțeles că programatorul le poate rezolva. După care conținutul propriu-zis, textele care sunt proeminente, care apar foarte mari în pagină, textele din imagine sau propriu-zis conținutul imaginilor respective, toate astea aduc semnale de relevanță cu privire la conținutul paginii respective. Ce alte optimizări interne putem să aducem pentru ca să arătăm lui Google semnale că pagina este relevantă pentru căutarea noastră? Zboruri spre Istanbul. În cazul ăsta ar fi foarte bine dacă tot site-ul ar fi legat de bilete de avion și de zboruri, nu doar pagina respectivă. Practic, ar fi bine ca conținutul semantic al întregului site să fie în armonie cu pagina respectivă, nu să fie o pagină izolată, ca de exemplu pe Wikipedia, în care, hai să spunem, toate paginile sunt diferite una de alta. Ok, să trecem mai departe. Așa cum spuneam, optimizarea externă ține de toate sarcinile pe care le face un expert SEO ca să aducă semnale de importanță unui site și a unei pagini. Așa cum spuneam, Google preferă să promoveze paginile care sunt cumva recomandate de alte persoane, care sunt îndrăgite și care cumva, hai să spunem, se bucură de încrederea și notorietate în rândul populației. De ce fel de semnale putem să aducem ca Google să creadă că, iată, o pagină este importantă din punct de vedere SEO și este relevantă în nișa respectivă?
Cândva erau tehnici interesante prin care se foloseau agregatoarele de știri pentru a încerca a scoate un link spre un articol cu o tematică interesantă, la care era necesar să obții cât mai multe vizite și boom-ul ăsta de vizite cumva dădea motorului de căutare informația că, uite, sursa asta este foarte importantă. Deci, prin boom-urile de trafic se reușea a obține un ranking mai bun pentru resursa respectivă.
De fapt, așa cum spuneam și mai devreme, și este o confuzie care circulă în lumea SEO, Google nu are acces la traficul unui site și nu poate să ia o decizie în baza informațiilor legate de trafic. Dar este adevărat faptul că link-urile sunt privite ca niște recomandări și în momentul în care pe unele pagini există link-uri către alte site-uri și către alte pagini, ele sunt privite ca niște voturi de încredere, practic cineva face un endorsement către acele pagini și respectiv aceste endorsement-uri sunt semnale foarte bune, cel mai des, precum că, iată, site-ul respectiv prezintă o experiență pozitivă și plăcută pentru utilizatori. Cu excepție, bineînțeles, pentru că unele endorsement-uri pot fi cumpărate și, iarăși, practic, valoarea lor este mai mare egală cu 0.
For example, if you place your link to your website at another website, which is external optimization, you should place your links, your banners on the website with the relevant topics. I mean, if you sell flight tickets to Istanbul, it would be a good idea to place links to your website, maybe at the websites of some travel agencies or something like that. So if you show this relevancy between the topics, so this has good influence.
De acord.
And your potential customer should want to click your link, so it should attract him also.
Bineînțeles. Ce vreau să mai adaug, este cineva care nu a înțeles ce s-a spus? Ok, până la urmă vorbeam de faptul că link-urile au o importanță foarte mare când vorbim de optimizarea extern, când vorbim de optimizarea off-site. Ca expert SEO, ce trebuie să faceți este să aduceți semnale măsurabile, precum că site-ul vostru este notoriu și important în nișa voastră. Și din punctul ăsta de vedere este o reglă universală care spune cam așa, că valoarea unui link este direct proporțională cu greutatea cu care l-ați obținut. Și practic se confirmă de fiecare dată, bineînțeles că în cazuri excepționale, când obțineți linkuri în baza, nu știu, unor prietenii sau speculați, niște relații de afaceri. Dar cel mai des, cu cât mai greu obțineți un link, cu atât el este mai valoros. Este preferabil ca linkurile pe care le obțineți, linkurile către paginile voastre, către site-urile voastre, să fie relevante și contextual potrivite. Pe acele site-uri, însă, regula este diferită. Practic, un link este cu atât mai valoros, cu atât mai mult cu cât crește probabilitatea că cineva, într-adevăr, va da click pe el. Ceea ce presupune și faptul că ați putea să plasați linkuri pe site-uri care nu sunt tocmai relevante din punct de vedere tematic, dar sunt populare. Și dacă, de exemplu, linkul sau bannerul este mai proeminent, atunci valoarea lui este mai mare. Și în calitate de expert SEO, practic jobul vostru este să asigurați semnale de importanță bazate pe proeminența acestor voturi de încredere, acestor linkuri și bannere și practic asta trebuie să faceți, un link să-l plasați mai mare, mai sus, mai evidențiat, poate cu altă culoare, cu underline, cu bold și așa mai departe, să măriți șansele ca cineva chiar să dea click. După cum spuneam, Google nu poate să urmărească traficul care trece de pe un link pe altul, în schimb poate să estimeze în funcție de traficul pe care îl are un site, traficul estimat pe care îl are un site sau altul. De fapt, cred că cel mai important slide este ăsta și, de fapt, asta am vrut să vă spun la prezentarea de astăzi și să vă întreb cum credeți voi care sunt cele mai importante metrici de succes sau de eșec al unei campanii SEO. În calitate de deținător de afaceri sau de site-uri, cum monitorizați voi succesul site-ului sau eșecul site-ului? Și, practic, nu există un răspuns greșit acum. Spuneți exact cum credeți voi că aveți succes sau nu cu un site.
First of all, if you have your keywords, by what keywords your website should be found, you can look in Yandex, in Google, in other search engines on which position your site at particular keywords. First of all, another thing is conversion. How many people entered your site? And how many people bought something? How many time they spent at your website? How many pages did they visit? I think that's it.
Ok, ca să fac un rezumat, ca metrici de succes putem să vedem pozițiile pentru fiecare dintre cuvintele cheie pe care le monitorizați, numărul de conversii, bineînțeles, de acolo vin banii în afacerea respectivă. Ați vorbit despre timpul mediu petrecut pe site și numărul de pagini vizitate, dar în legătură cu asta vreau să întreb de ce anume este important timpul mediu petrecut pe site și numărul de pagini vizitate. Cum asta ar putea să indice succesul sau eșecul în afacerea respectivă?
First of all, it shows the usability of the site. If, for example, I look for ticket to Istanbul and the first link was you can buy ticket to Istanbul here, I enter and I see that there is no tickets to Istanbul, I close the site after 10 seconds. And if I see that there are some options, I can buy tickets from this company or from that company, I can pay like this or like that, I spend more time on it. But so this time will show you how much time I spend on, like say, discovering my topic of what I'm looking for. And pages, another thing, it shows if the site is interesting for the customer, and it can show you as owner of the website what topics are interesting for the customers and what topics you should develop, more or less.
Ok, și în principiu, pentru dumneavoastră, cum ar fi mai bine să petreacă vizitatorul mai mult timp pe site sau mai puțin, să viziteze mai multe pagini sau mai puține? Până la urmă, care este o metrică de succes? Vizitarea un număr cât mai mare de pagini și vizite de o durată foarte mare sau invers?
I think it depends on the topic of the website. If you have a website whether different use, I think that as more time it's spent, it is better for the site, because it means that you have unique topics, you have interesting topics, interesting content, and something like that. But if we talk about, let's say, landing pages, when, for example, you sell or 1 or 2 products, to my mind, in this case, your customers should be at the website less time, because I enter the site, if I'm interested in this, I'm calling or I'm ordering. If not, I'm just closing and that's it.
Ok, vreau să mai adaug la treaba asta că, de regulă, o experiență agreată de motoarele de căutare este experiența în care utilizatorul dă click pe rezultatul motoarelor de căutare și nu mai părăsește acea pagină, ci rămâne acolo atât timp cât este suficient ca să rezolve problema lui și, de fapt, timpul optim pentru operația asta este timpul minim necesar. De asta trebuie să încercați să rezolvați problema cât mai repede posibil și cu vizitarea unei singuri pagini. Deci omul nostru nu trebuie să se plimbe pe 10 pagini diferite, să încerce să găsească răspuns la întrebarea pe care o are. Pagina pe care aterizează din motorul de căutare trebuie să fie pagina cu cea mai bună experiență posibilă și care rezolvă problema ideal și cât mai repede. Și asta, bineînțeles, că depinde de nișă, de la o nișă la alta, dar voi trebuie să încercați să reduceți timpul unei vizite și numărul de pagini vizitate. Altcineva? Ce metrici de succes mai cunoașteți sau le presupuneți?
Eu insist foarte mult pe corelarea metricilor cu ROI-ul, cu Return on Investment, cu financiară. Pentru că am avut experiențe neplăcute în trecut. Unul din business-uri e în turism și am un portal în care vând vacanțe online. Și metricii arătau bine, timpul petrecut pe site era ok, aveam foarte mulți vizitatori, dar nu converteau. Și pe partea de SEO am promovat foarte mult sintagma vacanțe Grecia. Mi-am dat seama de fapt că, din faptul că n-am vândut foarte multe vacanțe în Grecia, că am ales cuvintele greșit.
Sunt informative. Nu sunt cu tranzacții sau cu conversii, sunt doar pentru informare.
Da, exact. Cam asta a fost problema și o greșeală, dacă aș fi corelat, adică tot timpul insist să corelăm și cu financiarul acești metrici. Încă o chestie, ar fi fost mai bine înainte să verific celelalte căutări pe cuvinte cheie. De exemplu, vacanțe Grecia avea 10.000 de căutări pe lună, dar Lefkada, fără vacanțe în față, avea 20.000 de căutări. Lefkada are o șansă mai mare de să convertească, pentru că este deja nișată pe o destinație. Ăsta cred că e un metric de luat în calcul.
Ok. Până la urmă, întrebarea pe care am pus-o vine dintr-o problemă pe care o au oamenii, faptul că în SEO rezultatele vin pe termen lung, adevăratele se mențin pe termen lung, dar este nevoie de foarte mult timp ca să reușești să obții performanțe. Tocmai de asta, până vin pozițiile numărul 1 în Google, sau hai să spunem prima pagină sau top 3, trebuie să avem niște indicatori care să arate că suntem pe direcția potrivită, că acțiunile pe care le facem sunt cele necesare și, într-adevăr, nu sunt dăunătoare, ci benefice până la urmă conversiilor, că asta ne interesează. De aceea, practic, voiam să propun un set de metrici care nu se referă doar la pozițiile din Google, pentru că poți să fii pe primul loc în Google pentru un cuvânt cheie sau 2 cuvinte cheie, dar mai târziu, ci niște metrici care se întâmplă între perioada când începi promovarea unui site și deja numărul 1 în Google. Și dacă aveți idei, vă rog să le spuneți, dacă nu, să spun eu rând pe rând câteva. Ok, pentru succesul sau eșecul unei campanii SEO, în primul rând măsurăm traficul unui site. Începem campania de SEO, măsurăm traficul, vrem să crească. În special încercăm să defalcăm traficul ăsta după sursa de trafic, pentru că ne interesează traficul organic, ne interesează traficul direct și practic o experiență ideală pentru noi ar fi ca oamenii să intre direct pe traficul, pe site-ul nostru, pentru că au pus un bookmark pe site-ul ăsta. Traficul din social media și mai ales și traficul din recomandări. Cum spuneam, recomandările sunt un instrument foarte bun pentru a vedea, ca să vedem dacă site-ul este popular sau nu, notoriu sau nu în nișa respectivă. Următoarea metrică de succes, așa cum s-a spus și mai devreme, este numărul de cuvinte cheie care produc trafic de căutare și pozițiile cuvintelor cheie respective. Deci nu ne interesează doar pe ce poziții suntem, dar și câte cuvinte cheie dintre cele monitorizate aduc trafic de căutare. Începem probabil cu 0 cuvinte cheie care aduc trafic de căutare, între timp, iată, numărul ăsta crește, sunt 10, sunt 100 și ar fi bine să monitorizăm sute sau chiar poate mii de cuvinte cheie ca să vedem exact cum crește metrica asta în timp. Putem să compilăm și o altă metrică care înseamnă poziția medie din Google, adică dacă monitorizăm 100 de cuvinte cheie sau 1000 de cuvinte cheie, putem să încercăm să calculăm o poziție medie și să o reducem. Practic, numărul 1 în Google, pentru toate cuvintele cheie, ne dă o poziție medie de 1 și dacă monitorizăm, să spunem, 10 pagini din Google, valoarea maximă ar fi 101, adică nu rankăm pentru niciun cuvânt cheie. Numărul de pagini care ranchează în Google este un alt indicator. Cine poate să spună de ce este important să mărim numărul de pagini care sunt poziționate în Google? De ce să nu rankăm cu una singură pagină, ci să rankăm cu 100 de pagini diferite?
Because you never know what I will write in the Google. Let's say if I want to buy ticket to Istanbul, I can buy ticket to Istanbul, ticket Chișinău, Istanbul, flight tickets, or something like that. And in this case, all the keywords should lead to your website. And this is important for the optimization. I mean.
De acord, dar uite, în cazul în care avem cuvintele cheie legate de Istanbul, bineînțeles că toate cuvintele trebuie să ducă către aceeași pagină. Dar până la urmă, de ce trebuie să avem un număr cât mai mare de pagini care ranchează? Nu una singură. De ce trebuie să avem sute sau mii de pagini care ranchează în Google? Practic, răspunsul vine iarăși din regula de o experiență ideală pentru vizitatori, și anume ca fiecare pagină să rezolve o problemă atomică, dar să o rezolve bine și repede. Și dacă mai multe pagini ranchează în Google, nu contează pe ce poziții, poate fi și pe pagina a 3-a, pe pagina a 4-a, pe pagina a 2-a, practic nu produc încă trafic, nu sunt pe primul loc, pe după alte metrici sunt situate pe poziții mai proaste, dar iată, dacă ranchează Google, este un semnal că site-ul este calitativ sau începe să devină calitativ și mai ales este perceput de Google drept calitativ. Trebuie să încercați ca să obțineți o rată de succes de 100% de pagini care ranchează în Google. Adică dacă aveți 100 de pagini, ele trebuie să rancheze toate în Google. Dacă aveți 55.000 de pagini, fiecare dintre dânsele trebuie să rancheze în Google pentru cuvintele lor respective. Ceea ce înseamnă că Google, iată, preia semnalul cum că site-ul este în întregime calitativ. Alternativa fiind, de exemplu, să aveți 55.000 de pagini și doar 200 pagini care ranchează în Google. Restul paginilor nu sunt percepute drept calitative. Următoarea metrică ar putea să fie vizibilitatea din Google. În esență, hai să spunem, o proporție a persoanelor care văd rezultatele voastre comparativ cu numărul total de căutări. Și este asemănătoare cu poziția medie din Google, doar că se ia în calcul și volumul de căutare. Ținând cont de faptul că fiecare cuvânt cheie are un volum de căutare diferit, respectiv unele sunt mult mai căutate decât altele, iată această vizibilitate ne poate da un sentiment despre câți oameni într-adevăr văd anunțurile noastre în Google. Cine știe ce unelte pot fi folosite în procesul de optimizare a site-urilor? Și cum anume? Haideți, fiecare dintre voi aveți un site, fiecare dintre voi ați încercat să promovați site-uri mai devreme. Ce instrumente folosiți în procesul de optimizare a site-urilor, de promovare a site-urilor? Nimeni? Ok. În primul rând, cel mai răspândit instrument de promovare și optimizare a site-urilor este Google Analytics, instrumentul care ne permite să monitorizăm traficul site-ului. Practic, mai ales în cazul site-urilor extrem de populare, în cazul site-urilor mari, cea mai mare sursă de optimizări și locul unde se află cele mai mari oportunități de promovare și de optimizare sunt în Google Analytics. Acolo poți vedea aproape orice despre orice vizitator, timpul mediu petrecut pe site, sursele de trafic și așa mai departe, device-urile folosite și de acolo vin oportunitățile adevărate, mai ales în cazul în care traficul site-ului respectiv este într-adevăr mare. Un alt instrument la fel de important este Google Search Console. Practic este o viziune a motorului de căutare Google asupra site-ului vostru. Acolo găsiți tot felul de problemuțe pe care le puteți corecta. Respectiv, cu ajutorul acestui instrument puteți să ajungeți la cea mai bună versiune posibilă a site-ului. Sunt foarte multe erori pe care sunt indicate și pe care le puteți corecta. Pentru depistarea automatizată a pozițiilor din Google se folosesc așa numitele rank checker, vă puteți nota. Printre cele mai ieftine, rank checker este un instrument produs în România, AWR Cloud. Bineînțeles că giganții din lume au și câte un rank checker, de exemplu moz.com, și chiar și noi la Seolim avem un rank checker. Alte instrumente pe care le puteți folosi pentru depistarea popularității unui site generic se numesc backlink tools, adică unelte legate de backlink-uri, și printre cele mai populare sunt cele de la Moz, Majestic sau Ahrefs. Legate de promovarea site-urilor, legate de SEO, vă rog. Poftim? Nu aveți întrebări.
Spuneți-mi, vă rog, dacă influențează cumva faptul că folosim instrumentul CPC și dacă influențează cumva asupra poziționării în Google sau chiar CPM.
Întrebarea este mai generic dacă utilizarea Google AdWords ar putea să producă rezultate mai bune în căutările organice, da? Răspunsul simplu este nu, dar ca orice alt răspuns în SEO, până la urmă răspunsul este depinde. De ce spun că răspunsul simplu este nu? Este pentru că Google de nenumărate ori au declarat faptul că sunt echipe total diferite, că algoritmii nu reacționează, nu comunică între dânsii și până la urmă nu este nici de cum în interesul Google ca să afișeze în mod organic unele rezultate care teoretic nu sunt neapărat relevante. De ce răspund prin depinde este faptul că o sursă de trafic, uneori o sursă mare de trafic se poate converti mai târziu în niște semnale măsurabile și cuantificabile care produc efecte de relevanță și importanță. Adică link-urile, CPC-urile, click-urile aduse prin Google AdWords ar putea la un moment dat să convertească în link-uri și alte semnale legate de importanță. Prin moduri indirecte, bineînțeles.
Era interesant cum faceți ofertele către business, pentru că e foarte greu să corelezi costul serviciilor pentru rezultate care nu pot fi garantate. Cum construiți voi oferta? Ce presupune? Aveți anumite garanții sau anumite instrumente de a garanta calitatea lucrului prestat?
În SEO nu există garanții și de fapt este o discuție foarte, foarte mare de cauzele pentru care nu există garanții în SEO. În principiu, ofertele noastre depind de clientul respectiv. Adică avem și pachete preplătite, avem și consultanți pe oră. Până la urmă depinde de, hai să spunem, gradul de maturitate a afacerii care ne contactează pentru externalizarea promovării unui site. Dar nu, în niciun caz nu putem să garantăm poziții mai bune în Google pentru că, în primul rând, nu știm ce bugete au concurenții. Foarte mulți dintre dânsii au bugete mari, mai ales dacă sunt concurenți din nișe, dacă sunt companii din nișe extrem de competitive, extrem de concurente, cum ar fi, de exemplu, biletele de avion, rezervările hoteliere și așa mai departe. Pachetele, până la urmă, sunt construite individual.
Și istorii de succes pe piața locală, ceva unde ați obținut un rezultat fulminant într-o perioadă scurtă de timp?
Cred că cel mai bun succes este exemplul nostru, în care în Moldova suntem, cred că, cu un cap sau două mai sus decât orice alt concurent, dar chiar și în România suntem pe locul 1 sau 2, de fapt este fluctuant. Acolo concurența este mai mare decât aici, incomparabil, dar o bucurie pentru noi este că SEO este destul de scump și nu oricine poate să facă SEO.
Dar din companii, alte business-uri, alte domenii?
Practic există o clauză de confidențialitate în fiecare contract și nu avem voie să divulgăm denumiri de clienți.
Salut! Poate ar fi interesant pentru companiile mici sau mari, cum ar putea să obțină mai bine niște linkuri externe către site-urile lor. Câteva exemple, strategii.
Ok. În principiu, strategia de backlinking ține nemijlocit de afacerea pe care o aveți și cât de buni sunteți cu ideile. Practic, și în SEO asta este o regulă mereu, trebuie să faceți mai mult decât fac concurenții voștri, pentru că este extrem de simplu ca să copiați un concurent sau un concurent să vă copieze pe voi, lucrurile sunt practic la vedere. Și conținutul pe care îl produceți și linkurile pe care le obțineți, iată, pot fi folosite backlink tools ca să vadă concurenții sau să vedeți dumneavoastră ce linkuri au ei. Respectiv, trebuie să încercați și cum să traduce asta în practică este destul de greu, dar trebuie să încercați să obțineți backlink-uri pe care nu le vor putea obține ei aproape niciodată. Și asta nu sunt backlink-urile comparate, sunt backlink-urile meritate în baza eforturilor pe care le faceți voi în legătură cu serviciile sau produsele pe care le propuneți. În cazul biletelor de avion, cred că fiecare dintre voi a auzit, poate anul trecut sau vreo 2 ani în urmă, de tot felul de oferte de Crăciun sau de tot felul de campanii de promovare în care oamenii zboară gratuit sau oamenii primesc cadouri de la Moș Crăciun sau oamenii primesc un Samsung gratuit la bordul aeronavei. Chestii de genul ăsta care costă foarte mulți bani, dar care se traduc la un moment dat în linkuri și voturi de încredere. Și oricum rămâne valabilă regula că valoarea unui link este cu atât mai mare cât greutatea este mai mare de a-l obține. Niciodată, practic, nu mai poți obține un link, hai să spunem, de la whitehouse.gov și există o singură variantă în care poți obține un link acolo, este să candidezi la alegeri și să câștigi. Dar costul este prea mare. Altcineva?
Скажите, пожалуйста, вот вы говорите о высокой стоимости линка. Есть ли какие-то пакеты предложения, средний чек, возможно, вот услуг на рынке SEO в Молдове?
Înțeleg întrebarea, dar nu cred că există un cost mediu pentru un link, pentru că există și linkuri foarte, foarte ieftine, gen $50 sau euro, și linkuri foarte scumpe, gen 2, 3, 400, 500. Noi, în schimb, nu lucrăm ca și cu o companie de link building, ceea ce înseamnă că noi nu cumpărăm linkuri, ci încercăm să stabilim parteneriate, încercăm să le obținem de o manieră cumva în baza valorilor percepute de acele site-uri ca și parteneri. Respectiv, este greu pentru noi să spunem care sunt prețurile linkurilor în Moldova sau în alte părți. Noi nu plătim pentru linkuri. Bineînțeles că și Google cumva nu recomandă link building-ul prin linkuri plătite.
Ну, еще вопрос. Может, вы знаете или сами предлагаете какие-нибудь инструменты для монетизации трафика, допустим, для других разработчиков, скажем, программного обеспечения для Android или iOS?
Nu, din păcate nu cunosc metode de monetizare. Practic, noi la Seolium ne ocupăm doar cu promovarea site-urilor, nu neapărat și monetizarea lor.
Понятно, спасибо.
Altcineva? Ce întrebări, ce probleme aveți legate de promovarea site-urilor? Ce chestii drăguțe încercați să faceți și nu reușiți? Dacă nu mai sunt întrebări, atunci cred că putem să punem punct. Gata? Și cred că punem punct. Mersi.
Georgia. Nice. Ukraine. Moldova. Romania. Italy. Perfect. Armenia. Okay. Thank you for being here. So, we all have this, like it or not, yeah, we all have to suffer or can benefit from this concept, country of origin effect, and also not just governments but also society as a whole, and especially small and medium enterprises, should be engaged into building sectorial brands. Is this open? It's okay. So, first of all, a bit about myself. I've been having this research interest on country image starting in 2002. When I did my bachelor paper on this, especially on the tourism image of the country, and then I started a PhD to study this relationship between the country image and the destination, the tourist image of a country. I've also worked for the Ministry of Tourism and participated in developing the National Tourist Strategy. Then, getting back to tourism, this is actually why I'm here, because FNTME, the National Foundation of Young Managers in Romania, asked me a few years ago, okay, we're having this big project where we want to train the owners of guest houses in Romania. Would you like to be a trainer and teach them tourist marketing? And I said yes. And I have a nice story about this. You know, each year we have in the spring and in the autumn we have 2 tourist fairs in Bucharest, the National Tourist Fair, and I go there. So first of all, 1 year we moved around the country doing these trainings for guest house owners, and then I come back home and I tell my wife, I've got a list of nice guest houses that worth to be visited, either because the guest house is nice, either because the lady who owns the guest house is nice. Okay, and I go to this tourist fair, and in the, let's say, the pavilion dedicated to Romanian destinations. So I jump up at the first booth, and this lady owner of a guest house says, "Professor." Then at the second, and I was with my wife. So when this happened the 5th time, she said, "I don't think you're going to go keep these trainings anymore." You know, it was a joke. So basically, I really enjoyed it, and I met a lot of people. The project finished really interesting because 100 of guest house owners from Romania spent 2 weeks in Spain, looking and seeing how the guest house owners from Spain manage their business, marketing their services, and so on. So it was a really nice project. It ended up with portal cazarelapensiune.ro, which is still in top 10 tourist websites in Romania, and presenting the offer of Romanian guest houses. In total, it's like 3,500 of them on the website. So it's a nice tool. And during the project, we've also printed, FNTME also printed the first, let's say, guest house catalog. Okay, with catalog with Romanian guest houses in 3 or 4 foreign languages, and so on. So this is actually the reason, my connection to FNTME, the National Foundation of Young Managers, and also to Romanian Business Leaders, NGO. It's why I'm here today in Chișinău. I also, being a professor, I have this organization to manage. It's called Bucharest Business School. It's kind of an umbrella brand for free MBA programs, Romanian-Canadian MBA program, which is a partnership between my university, I'll say in Bucharest, the University of Economic Studies, and different Canadian universities. Now we're partners with University of Quebec at Montreal. The second MBA program, it's the Romanian-French MBA program with CNAM, the Paris University, very old, older than my university. And the third one, it's the Romanian-German MBA program with a university from Bochum in Germany. All of 3 of them offer double degree programs, and in order to enroll, you must have at least 3-4 years of managerial experience. So usually students are my age. Not when they graduate, they don't go to the MBA programs, wait, 5 years, 10 years, and then go to the MBA programs. So in these MBA programs, in the 2 of them, which English is the main language, I teach international marketing. In the other, I don't teach anything because I don't speak German, and all the classes are in German. And it was the first time, let's say, I was able to bring in front of my students Romanian entrepreneurs that have invested in international expansion, and that have a large part of their business coming from abroad markets, not from Romanian market. And in the end, I also have several companies. For example, I'm a member of the board and also a shareholder in the 10th biggest insurance brokerage company in Romania. We had like 30 million euros insurance, let's say primes, insurance, I don't know what people pay to be insured, 300,000 customers, so it's a big business. But what I like most, even though it's not so profitable, because it's not easy to become a millionaire out of consulting. What I like most is to offer strategy consulting services to Romanian entrepreneurs that want to expand abroad, they want to go to the next level, they want to play in Champions League. So for that, one of the cases I will present today, it's what I suggested to one of my customers, who is the leading exporter of honey in Romania. And it's related to this country of origin effect and developing of the sectorial brands, which is the topic for today. So that's pretty much about me. I believe in that all the countries present here, Italy already is there. They can use their national image to boost their exports and to profit on this country of origin effect, and to build up brands, sectorial brands, build up company brands, product brands, and of course turn it into economic development. Okay, so the present situation. So I've got a few indicators. I grouped the countries according to population. The biggest is obviously Italy, 60.6. Out of them, probably 2 million are Romanians and Moldavians, yeah, living in Italy. Then you've got Ukraine, which is a large market by population, not necessarily by GDP. Then you've got Romania, almost 20 million inhabitants, Georgia, Republic of Moldova, and the smallest is Armenia. Now, so as you see, if we look at numbers, even for Romanian companies, Romania is a smaller market, or too small market. So you need, if you want to be successful and get bigger and bigger, you need to expand beyond the borders of your country, and this is especially available for smaller countries, like the countries you come from. Because you've got a small market, so you need to address the international market to be successful. So if we look at the GDP, we see Italy with 1,850, then Romania is the second, and if we compare it, I don't know, with Ukraine, imagine in 1990s we both started from pretty much the same place, but we developed faster, probably because we looked west rather than east. I don't know. Then you see small GDP, like $6 billion for Moldova, which has the smallest GDP out of the 6 countries analyzed. And then we can compare GDP per capita, also in PPP, like purchasing power parity. So I don't know if you know, but for example, in Bucharest, the GDP per capita is higher than in Berlin and a few other Western cities. Which means if you have, I don't know, you generate 1,000 euros in Bucharest, you can spend it on more goods than if you generate 2,000 euros in Berlin, for example. So when we compare this, we see Italy is far away. Romania is pretty good because of the low prices. So okay, we have smaller wages, but we can afford more because the prices are lower than in the West. And then we see countries similar, like Georgia is pretty well, Ukraine and Armenia, and Moldova is far behind. So we could say Moldova is actually the poorest out of the six countries. Then I looked at the exports. So we've got 2 types of exports, products and services. And obviously exports are related to this concept of country of origin effect, because when people buy products, they look also at the made in label, and they associate images and qualities and characteristics to brands and products because of their origin. And we see the exports. Italy is obviously doing well because it's a big economy. Then we've got Romania. Then Ukraine, it's big enough, but as you see, double the population and less exports than Romania. Then we've got Georgia doing quite well, almost 5.5 billion in total, from a GDP of 14. Then you've got Moldova, 3 billion out of a GDP of 6.7. It's called the nation brand value. You know about the brand valuation, like how much money is a brand worth, and you probably know Apple, it's I don't know, higher than most countries' GDP as valuation. But using the same methodology, using the same concept of brand equity, you could say this country is worth this amount of money, and that country image is worth that amount of money. And these guys have created, from Brand Finance, they have created this ranking of top 100 country brands. You know, there are like 200 and something countries in the world. Unfortunately, Georgia and Armenia and Moldova are too small to be present in the top 100, but the others are. And look a bit at the differences. So the national brand value of Italy, it's 2,000 billion euros. And we could say Italy makes a lot of money because it has a positive image. Okay, because people when they say, okay, that product comes from Italy, they associate it with high quality, higher prices, and so on. Yeah. Then you've got Romania, which has a national brand value, you see, a bit under the GDP. For Italy, it's higher than the GDP. Yeah. And then you've got Ukraine, also lower than the GDP. So basically what this tells us that, okay, Romania's image helps Romania's exports, Ukraine's image helps less Ukrainian exports than Romania's image helps Romanian companies to export. We'll move on. Let's move on and we'll get back to this methodology and explain you how these valuations were calculated. Okay, so now we're going to play a game, because I did this presentation especially for people in this room with data on the 6 countries. And the nicest part is, in today's world, you have access to data. And you'll see data about your countries that, I don't know, all of you were aware of. Now, and let's see what happens. Put to the public, you don't have to pay for this kind of data, and it's put in a graphic form. And this is what Italy is exporting. Now, what do you think is first? Yeah, because you see the cars, everybody follows cars, it's around here. Actually, if we look at, first of all, machines, transportations, chemical products, which is actually pharmaceuticals, we're going to see metals, textiles. Everybody thinks of fashion when we talk about Italy. Yeah. Foodstuff, plastics, and so on. What do you see here? Is it a lot of raw materials or rather value-added products? Value-added products. Okay? Now if we look a bit further, because we could see what type of machines, what type of chemical products we're talking about. So first of from the chemical products, for example, it's packaged medicines. Yeah. Or you see here from, this was machineries like valves, or from cars, you see the total cars, or the automotive industry, the car parts, vehicle parts. So you have to export probably tons of corn to get the price of an Italian car. No? So, let's see the third country, which is Romania, which is probably somewhere in the middle. Yeah, because okay, so you see it resembles a bit to Italy, like cars. Okay, it's a low-cost car, or vehicle parts, because parts from a Mercedes or a BMW are actually made in Romania, and so on, because the automotive industry is doing pretty well. And then you've got, I don't know, insulated wire, or you see here rubber tires. I'm pretty sure about, you know, Pirelli and everything they have, or Continental, and so on. And then, what else are you noticing? Like, you've seen in the case of Ukraine, we could look a bit further. Okay, so 2 groups of products, sorry, one moment, have more than 50% of the exports. So basically the Ukrainian economy exports is depending on those sectors. And which is better, like to have exports in, I don't know, 20 types of products, or exports in just 3 types of products? What's better, like to have diversity? Diversity is better. Okay. Please, you wanted to ask a question?
Yeah. Maybe it's better to, in the end, I don't know, just I have a question because of I saw something, so how you prefer?
Ongoing.
Okay. There was a question about Pirelli, you said like tires, Pirelli and different stuff. In that case, the tires, for example, are not Romanian probably, yeah? So they're produced in Romania probably. just to understand the question. So in that case,
Yeah, we can.
yeah. So it's we are counting things which are Romanian by origin, or which are produced now in Romania, but they can be German, Italian, or different.
Okay, so it's a nice question.
Yeah.
The idea, if you wait like 5 more slides, we'll get there. But let me tell you this. Yeah, I will give you another example. Coca-Cola has several factories in Romania. What they use is Romanian water with Romanian sugar and all the ingredients and the secret recipe, which is the US. If you ask people in Romania, is Coca-Cola a Romanian product or a foreign product, what would they say? Okay, so it's the perception what matters. Okay, but in the end, the product is made in that country. If you ask, I don't know, is iPhone an American product? You've got the design, the concept, and then you go to Foxconn, and Apple goes to Foxconn, which is a Taiwanese company, and then the Taiwanese company has a factory in China, which uses a lot of workers to come up with the iPhone. Is it the Chinese?
In this case, it will count like to be China's.
Yeah, it would count for exports from China, exactly. Okay, so we're talking 2 different things. One is exports, and the other part is branded exports. Okay, like genuine Romanian products, genuine Georgian products, and so on. Okay? Let's focus first on the exports, and then we move on to the country of origin, because I want you to see the whole picture. Okay, now we move on to Georgia. What do you think is Georgia export?
Why?
Okay. And nuts.
Nuts, yeah.
And yeah, wine. As you see there, it's 5% of the exports. And I didn't know you have a car factory.
Mostly goes to Armenia.
Okay, we'll see that. But again, is this value-added product or rather raw materials and commodities? Like, can you say copper from Georgia is better than copper from Bolivia?
No. What is copper?
Yeah, probably not. I don't know. It's a commodity. Yeah. Okay. The funny part is, I actually discovered a few products. Each of your countries is better than my country, and we'll see the examples. Yeah. Moldova. So oil seeds, sunflower seeds, then wires and wine and seeds, and here we've got the, I don't know, women's suits, textile, and so on.
What is seeds?
Chairs. I don't know if it's automotive or if it's this, probably automotive. Yeah. Okay. And the last one, the smallest with the smallest exports. Armenia. Okay. So now you will have the presentation if you want with all the links, and you don't have to write down anything or make pictures of the slides because it's in the slides. You see there, diamonds. It was a surprise for me. Okay, like Armenia is exporting diamonds. Did you notice rolled tobacco? Okay, was a surprise. And then this, like vodka, cognac, yeah, hard liquor. Yeah. So in this field, some of these countries like Georgia or Armenia are actually exporting much more than Romania does, which is interesting because Romania is a larger market and so on. we'll see the differences. So we've got Germany, France, UK, Spain, Switzerland, but also US and China and Turkey and so on. But what you see mostly, it's European Union, I don't know, 70%. Yeah. Let's see the case of Ukraine. Okay, like it or not, it seems Russia is the main commercial partner. Yeah? So you know what happened because of the political problems, and Russia said, okay, no more agricultural products coming from are allowed to be imported from Ukraine, and this is when the European Union said, okay, we're going to open our market without tariffs for you, just to have where to export your agricultural products. But if you look, for example, why do you think Ukraine exports to Egypt so much? Wet grains, cereals. Yeah, so they ship a lot of ships with cereals to Egypt. Let's see Romania now. Again, it's dependent on the EU partners. Yeah. Even worse than Italy. Yeah. Germany, France, Italy, Hungary, and so on. Then you've got countries from other continents. And now if we look at Georgia, what do you think? Russia would still be the number one? Yeah, probably not. Yeah. You've got Turkey, China, Azerbaijan, Armenia.
It looks like Eurovision.
Yeah, exactly. Okay? And now, where does Moldova export? And I was afraid, you know, let it be Romania the first partner, not Russia. And as you see, yeah, Romania is actually the biggest commercial partner, then Russia, and then Italy, and so on. As you look again, the countries of the European Union and Russia make, I don't know, 90% of the exports. Okay, so you rely on, you don't see, I don't know, China, Japan, Brazil, other markets there. Yeah, so you rely on the European partners for exports. And in the end, Armenia, where do you think it will export? Russia. And surprisingly, you see Bulgaria. And Georgia, it's an important partner. Iraq. But also Canada and China and so on. Okay, so we see different types of products and different types of markets. Now the question is, how would you define success in exports? What's the best strategy? Fewer products, fewer markets, a large assortment of products on a large number of markets. What do you think? Probably diversification of product categories reduces the risk. Now, let's say you're an economy that exports oil and the price of oil barrel drops a lot. You're in big trouble. Yeah? Then you should focus on value-added products. Like, let's say instead of exporting oil, let's have a refinery and transform it and export gasoline. Then focus on branded products, not on commodities. Yeah? I don't know, imagine about Italy and talk about the value of a Ferrari. Yeah? So probably the margin, the profits for building and selling a Ferrari are a bit higher than the profits for selling tons of cereals. Yeah. So focus on branded products, value-added products, not on commodities, not on raw materials. Yeah. Basically, focus on something where your country has a competitive advantage. Then target multiple markets or countries, because if you are dependent too much on one country, they can close the pipeline. And I don't know, some new politicians come up and they say, starting from next year, you're not allowed, or we increase the taxes, or you're not allowed to import from that country. Okay, and it's better to have a higher number of customers, and each of them not to represent too much out of your exports. Let's say, I don't know, if it's less than 5%, it's probably decent. If it's 25% one country, that means that country has a high power on your country. Yeah, because they can easily turn on and off the pipeline. Okay? Then we talked about reducing market dependencies. We have two options: to target countries which are geographically close, or countries which are culturally close. What does it mean, culturally close? Language, exactly. I don't know, people having the same religion. If we look a bit, yeah, most people in this room are Orthodox. Okay, out of the 6. Do you think perhaps it's just luck? Yeah, but obviously it's a cultural closeness. Yeah. And then what you must do, you must capitalize on the country brand image. So let's say you have a nice country image, and then use it to turn it into exports and into profits, and into GDP increase for your country. You must capitalize on the sectorial brand image. For example, in Romania, the IT sector has a nice image for investors abroad and customers abroad. And also you could focus on the geographic indication. And here our colleague from Italy can tell us why a bottle of Brunello di Montalcino costs a bit higher than other wines. You know what I'm talking about?
No, because I'm from Sardinia and our wine is better.
But less expensive.
Yes.
Okay? So the idea is you've got these geographic indications, okay, and you pay, I don't know, cheese from the Alps, and it's double the price of cheese from the Mediterranean area. Just because you've got this geographic indication, protecting, you know, like denominazione d'origine controllata.
But even if we have the IPG, the prices are still different, because if you compare the one that we produce in Sardinia and the one that is produced in other parts of Italy, it's much more expensive in other parts, except those that won some prices and then they're not comparable to anything else.
We'll see. Okay, the idea is you can capitalize on that. Like, people know about, this is the nicest part when you have a national image which is powerful. Because people don't just know about Italy. People know about Milan, people know about Venezia, people know about Rome, people know about Pisa and so on. And you can capitalize on that. The problem with the rest of the other countries, probably in Romania people know about Transylvania, which is a brand because of Dracula and so on. But if you tell me about Armenia, I know the capital is Yerevan, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, you can't capitalize more on that. Yeah. Okay, and now we enter the subject, which is this country of origin effect. And most of a product or a brand success is given by its customers. And these customers may be ethnocentric, like in Romanian case, agricultural products coming from Romania, and salami coming from Romania, and cheese coming from Romania. It's evaluated better than foreign products. Or in other countries, in other cases, people would be willing to pay more for a salami from Italy, because it's from Italy rather than from your own country. Okay? So, country of origin effect is related to consumer behavior because branding the product, labeling the product, indicating the source of the product has an effect on consumer behavior. It affects how people perceive that brand. It affects the attitudes towards the brand, like if you like it or not. It affects the buying intentions. Okay? So, usually country brand images have an impact on the image of the products from that country. So if I'm telling you this is from China, would you pay more or less if I told you this is from Japan?
Less, of course less.
Of course less, okay? Because for so many years people tended to know that China is doing cheaper products than other Japan or Korea or so on, which is not the case anymore. But in my mind I have this bias that if it comes from China, I expect it to be cheaper than if it comes from Japan.
Yeah, but China also has different prices for different countries it exports. China for USA, it's the same product but one quality, and China for
probably different brands. We're gonna get there. So usually when we talk about FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods where you don't spend too much, the involvement level is low. You don't spend too much time deciding which product you buy. So you don't need too many pieces of information about that product. What are you going to do? You're going to use the country of origin as a signal of quality, and you would choose according to that. And this happens also in bigger value items like cars. Because for example, I would say you expect, if I tell you a new car brand coming from Germany has hit the market. Okay? It's a German car. What would you expect from it?
Quality.
Okay, so you're biased. Perhaps it's the shittiest car ever produced. Okay, but it's German. You don't know too many details about that car, but in your mind it's already better than a Chinese car or a Romanian car.
And it's
or
red.
an Armenian car. Okay? Or Georgian, whatever is the factory. Okay, so basically the country of origin effect in some of these situations represent an indication for you whether to choose or not the product, for you as a consumer. So, we could talk about a pyramid. And basically what we control as small and medium enterprises, we control this. Okay? We control our company brand and we control our product and service brand. But like it or not, the image of my company is affected by the fact that my company is a Romanian company. The image of your company is affected by the fact that you're a Moldavian company, and so on. Okay? So, I've got this story, and I put it as an example in my presentation. I'm also a member of JCI, Junior Chamber International. So this year I went to the European Conference, which was in Basel in Switzerland. And we usually during the conferences you could do company visits. And I have chosen Victorinox, you know, the Swiss Army with the small stuff. Basically, I can tell you it's all about branding. I'm pretty sure anyone in Armenia, Georgia, Romania, Ukraine, whatever, would be able to organize the process, get the factory in place, and do those things. But you pay a premium for the brand. Why? Because Switzerland as a country has an image of being producers of high quality things like watches and so on for hundreds of years. So you would expect that little thing coming from Switzerland to be extraordinary and not to break after 6 months of usage and so on. And you would pay more to have that brand, which see the Swiss Army brand, which resembles to the Swiss flag, to tell us that it's a Swiss product and so on. Okay, so when we talk about, I don't know, perfumes from France, or chocolate from Belgium, or fashion from Italy, or we have some expectations regarding those products coming in from that countries in those sectors. Yeah. For example, robots from Japan. Okay, getting back, so we don't control this. We don't control how people abroad think about our country. We don't control how people abroad think about wines in our country. We only control our brands. Now, the corporate brand and the product and service brand. And this is nice because countries like Italy, they don't just rely on the fact that people know about Rome and Venice and Milan and Sicily and so on. People also know about corporate brands coming from Italy. People know about Ferrari, know about Unicredit, know about, I don't know, Energil Zegna, know about Gucci, and know about a lot of corporate brands which are present on the international market and contribute to the image of Italy as a fashionable place to be, to live, to experience La Dolce Vita. Yeah. If we talk about the rest of the countries present here, how many global corporations do you have coming from Romania, from Armenia, from Ukraine? I can count. Yeah. So we don't have the same advantage. Yeah. And this is like a circle. Yeah. The country image influences the corporate image, but also IKEA influences the image of Sweden. And Skype influenced the image of Estonia. Yeah, so it's possible to build a global brand coming from a small country. It's not impossible. Yeah, Estonia. Skype came from Estonia. Okay? So, we also have this, and in the European Union there is a lot of effort to promote to agricultural business owners these free schemes of protecting the geographical indication. So we've got this protected designation of origin, protected geographical indication, and also traditional specialties guaranteed. Yeah. So it could come up like prosciutto di Parma. Nobody is allowed to use that except producers from the Parma area. Yeah. I don't know, you know Sibiu, it was the European Capital Culture in 2007. Okay, we've got this Salam de Sibiu, which is actually the most sold salami in Romania. Yeah, you could protect it, and nobody in the EU is allowed to do Salam de Sibiu and so on. Okay? So, I would call this, so if you want this, it's related to this. So first you could develop the national image, and then the sectorial image, and then the geographical image, and you don't control. And then you control the company image, your own company image, and your own brands, product brands or service brands image. Okay. Let's start from the bottom of the pyramid, the country image. Pretty sure you know about Simon Anholt, if you're fan of the country branding concept. So this guy said, okay, we could brand countries as corporations. Brand is, countries have an image, countries communicate. So basically we're interested in seeing the image of the country in different, let's say here in the 6 points. One of them would be the image of a country as exporter. The other would be the image of a country as a tourist destination, for example. And our focus today is about country of origin effect, which is related to exports. So, this guy, year by year, they do a survey asking people in, I don't know, 50 countries, what do you think about these countries on the list? And this year, Germany has the best brand image. Last year it was United States, which is number 6. And you see there are different parts of the country image. So the first part, you don't see it here. It says global, then exporting, then governance, then culture, the masks, then people, then tourism, and then immigration and investment. And if we look at the exports, what do you see? Japan has the best image as exporter. Okay, and then US, Germany, UK, and France. If we look at tourism, guess what? Italy has the best image as a tourist destination, followed by France, which is actually the most visited country in the world by foreign tourists. Okay? But if you look at investment where people would like to immigrate, Canada is on the first place, and so on. So this is the first methodology. It's called the Anhalt GfK Nation Brand Index. GfK, it's a German marketing research company. Okay, so it's not enough to have the people to know you, to have a good image. You must transform it, capitalize on this, and transform it into revenues. And if we look at this top, the most valuable brand in the world would be the US. Yeah. But we see in top 20 countries like South Korea, Indonesia, Taiwan. Yeah. So let's say smaller countries, especially Taiwan and South Korea. Then we've got the third model from Bloom Consulting. And this is the ranking for Europe. And guess what? Our countries are at the bottom of the top in Europe. So Moldova is here, then you've got, can you help me out a bit? Ukraine here, and then we've got Romania here. So basically out of, I don't know, top 50, our countries are usually in between 40 and 50. If we look at Italy, it's here. So it has a good reputation, it has a good image in Europe. Okay, so this study, the one which explains the value of each national brand, is based on this methodology, telling that the value of a brand is given by awareness, familiarity, associations, preference, consideration, decision and visitation, and also advocacy. And if we look at the associations, people associate with countries, first of all, value systems, and then they think about the quality of life in those countries, and then they think, is that country good for business? Then they look at heritage and culture, and in the end at tourism. So, this is the ranking. You see, let's say Romania is here, Ukraine is here. It's in top 75 countries in the world. Italy is here, number 18, and so on. But we see smaller countries with a far better image. I don't know, Chile, Estonia. Even Panama has a better country image than our countries. So basically, we have, this guy says, not all countries are brands. So some of the countries are brands, so they have awareness, they have likability. People spend money because of this country image, like they visit the country, they buy products from that country, and so on. This is, let's say, you don't make too much money out of it, but still you offer an experience. And this, you don't offer an experience and you don't make too much money out of it. Yeah. And unfortunately, Romania is here. Yeah. And if we look at the countries with the best brands, it's Japan, Germany, Switzerland. Yeah. Italy is around here somewhere. Yeah. So this would be the countries grouped according to status or experience. So I took just one example because it's easy to understand. Switzerland, which is number 2, Japan was number 1. Okay, it has an image. Basically, what does Switzerland have most momentum? Technology and innovation, and then sustainability and environmental friendliness, and then political and economic influence, and then cultural significance. And if we look at where Switzerland is expert, first of all, luxury products, second, financial services, third, technology, fourth, transportation, fashion, and so on. But it's obviously, you do a survey, and it points out the sectors where your country is good at. And then we have brands coming from Switzerland, like the Toblerone chocolate, or the Swatch watch, or Nestlé, or Rolex, or Lindt, or Patek Philippe. Pretty sure you heard about the watch and so on. Yeah. So the first association here was luxury, second, financial. Sorry. I can sneeze in the microphone if you want. Yeah.
How they will translate this?
How do you say it? So, when you think of a country more about value systems, quality of life, good for business, that's a country with a high status. As you see here on the country list, status countries, not so much, yeah? Belgium, Qatar, Bahrain, not too many countries. Then when you think about tourism, heritage and culture, and also exports, you think of a country as an experience. Okay, so people who visit Italy, they don't want to see something. I don't know, when you go to Paris, you don't want to see naturally Tour Eiffel. You want to feel the Parisians' way of living. So, we've got, if we think number 1, it's Japan. Yeah, but if we think at the products made in, this is the top. Okay, so, and you see here, Denmark. If we think about heritage and culture, look who's in the top. Greece, Peru, Egypt, India. Yeah, a total different ranking than if we talk about exports and products made in those countries. Okay, now we're going to answer your colleague's question. Because is it about the country of brand? Is it about the country where the brand was designed, was conceived? Or is it about the country of manufacturing or the country of assembly? Because if you think of Volkswagen, it's a German concept with a factory in Russia using parts from Romania. Okay, but in customers' minds, it's a German brand, and this is what matters. So basically, perception is the most important thing, and how customers perceive us, it's what matters. For example, in Romania, we've got this guy who created a brand, it's called Delaco. I know, okay, dairy products. It advertises as a Romanian brand, but if you take the product and look at the circle, you know, you're rarely going to see raw there. You would mostly see other countries. Why? Because he uses factories outside Romania, which are probably cheaper, to build up this. He only has the brand. He doesn't own a factory in Romania. And then he goes to suppliers, and they say, okay, I want this cheese done like this with this recipe. Okay? But if you ask 99% of Romanian consumers, they would say Delaco, it's a Romanian brand. It's our
It's a
product.
Romanian brand, but not a Romanian product.
Yeah, but they don't see this difference. Yeah. Okay. Then we talked about this iPhone and also about the halo effect. Yeah, because you go to the supermarket and you see a new French wine. and you know France is #1 in wine producers in the world, okay, and you suppose if it's French and if it's expensive, it's going to be nice. You actually don't know if it's going to be like that. Yeah, but you suppose a French wine, it's a good one, it's a nice one. Okay, so for some products or sectors, the brand image of the country is more important for the consumers than for other products. For example, for luxury products, would you rather buy a luxury product which was made in Switzerland or a luxury product which was made in India?
In China.
Or in China?
Of course.
Probably
Depends on the
you-
price. Да, luxury depends.
Okay, it's a luxury product.
Luxury doesn't depend on
They
the price.
compete with like which price is higher.
Hi. Yes, yes.
Okay? Now think a bit about India. Yeah, because I told you about this. 1.4 billion people. You know that in every society, 2% of society is the rich ones. Now calculate 2% out of 1.4, it makes 28 million people. More than some of these countries together. Yeah, rich people in India. Okay, so probably they have access to a luxury market. I'm pretty sure they can buy the purses and watches and everything. Yeah, not just the international brands. So I'm pretty sure the luxury market is quite competitive in India. But when we think about perception, obviously our perception is that a luxury product coming from Switzerland would be more luxurious than a luxury product coming from India. And people, okay, expect fashion and creativity from Italy, but they don't expect order and technical details and everything from an Italian company. So they couldn't compete with Japanese, South Korean, which had a better image in that sector. Then the country of origin reputation is stronger when that country is best in multiple sectors. So you've got Switzerland, which is the best in watches, but also the best in financing, but also the best in chocolate, and we have cheese and so on. Yeah, so multiple categories. And here, Italy, it's a case because they're good at food, fashion, cars, sports cars, and so on. Yeah. And also successful brands, like individual brands, contribute to the strengths of the country of origin. How many of you heard about Bitdefender? It's a Romanian antivirus sold in 200 countries. So it contributes, the success of Bitdefender contributes to the image of Romanian IT sector. Okay? So, this research indicates that the strongest countries of origin, the strongest export image of countries are based on authenticity, differentiation, quality standards, and expertise. And this is why, for example, if you come from Japan and you want to export robots, you have a Japanese authority telling you how good this robot should be for other markets in order for you to be able to export it. So you can't export everything you want out of Japan. And then expertise. Yeah, being identified as the best in a category or having created a category of products. Okay, and now we have the example of Italy. I'm pretty sure you all know about the Kinder Egg. Yeah, which is not a chocolate, it's not a toy. It's a new product category, and they're the best in this. And people know it comes from Italy. Okay, then, in order to have success, you must have consumer awareness, legal protection of the brand, country brand management, the image should be across categories, so image for different types of products, and also you should have several representative brands, several big companies you could use to brag about yourself as a country. And if we look at country images in different sectors, let's take the luxury. Okay, Switzerland is #1, France because they have Louis Vuitton and everything. And then Italy, we have a lot of luxury brands, fashion luxury brands coming from Italy. And then UK and USA and so on. And even Belgium, Sweden and Spain. Yeah. But if we talk about, for example, food and beverage, you've got France, who has the best image, then Italy, and then Spain, USA, and I don't know what's here, Turkey, which is on the top 10 also. So basically for different products, you've got different rankings because the country images are associated with certain product categories. Yeah. Now what you have to do is think about each of your countries and tell me which would be the most representative product coming from that country, from your country. Let's say Georgia.
We're speaking here. We're just discussing all the things. Against.
Wine. Georgia.
Wine. Wine. Okay. I agree on that, and I will show you some figures. Yeah. Because you've got a tradition, and also you've got a brand image, and you're more able than other countries to export wine. At least other countries in this room. Okay, and you'll see the data. I don't know, Moldova.
Wine.
Wine again.
And honey. Apples.
Nuts.
And honey. Okay, I've got data about wine and honey. You're not as good as you think you are.
Seen. You are sunflower.
For wine, yeah, you are good.
Sunflower.
Better than Romania, a bit closer to Georgia. Yeah, we're going to see the numbers. Armenia.
Wine.
Sorry?
Wine.
Cognac.
Yeah.
Okay. Like spirits.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What else? Italy.
Pasta.
Okay, you're.
I think the best anyway is fashion from any side.
Okay.
I think the best anyway is fashion from our point of view. Then of course we can say oil, olive oil, cheese.
Furniture.
Okay, I also would like you to put things into perspective, like how much money is Italy making out of fashion compared to how much money is Italy making exporting olive oil. Probably much more money from fashion. Yeah? Okay, that's why some of the countries started this process of developing sectorial brands. And I will take this example, study in Holland. So Holland is the biggest recipient. It receives, it's close to UK, United Kingdom, at receiving foreign students. And now with the Brexit, now probably more people would go to study in Netherlands and Holland than study in UK. And they have created this brand, come and study in Holland, open to international minds, and they promote this brand at educational fairs. And after UK, they've got the highest number of programs taught in English in Europe. So basically, if you're a student and you want to learn abroad and you speak English, Netherlands might be the first option in a couple of years. Now is the second option, but with the Brexit problems, probably it's going to be the first option. Okay, now Poland has attracted a lot of FDI, foreign direct investment. If we look at Cyprus, it's an year-round destination, so you could go on January, in December, in July, and you always find tourists in Cyprus. Health equipment made in Germany. Also Swiss products. And now we move on to agricultural products. And we've got these examples. Of course, made in Italy, made in France, fabriqué en France. Café de Colombia. Then fruits from Chile. And you see the Australian wine with the kangaroo image, which is the most iconic image and people recognize, and it comes from Australia. Okay, so why should countries invest in sectorial brands? As you see, each country has its own export strategy. It has its own product categories they're good at. It has their own traditional markets. And developing the sectorial brands, it doesn't happen like this overnight. It takes years of communicating, years of investing, years of going to fairs, years of having satisfied customers and so on, promoting the country differences and so on. So they need investment, but they also need government and public support. From the persons who buy the products to the SMEs who don't hide the fact that they are coming from that country. Yeah, so they are, let's say, proud to tell their customers we come from that country, not to try to hide their origin. Yeah. So I have chosen this example because New Zealand has a good country image. I'm pretty sure you know that the trilogy was filmed in New Zealand. Okay, so it has this image of 100% pure New Zealand. Okay, a very natural environment, not so populated with humans, not so polluted and so on. So they have invested in creating this brand, Manuka Honey, which is supported by the national image, and now it's the most expensive type of honey in the world. So, Manuka Honey, it's a nice example because it's the perfect product. Yeah. These trees only grow in New Zealand. It doesn't make economic sense to cultivate these trees somewhere else. So basically you've got a barrier. No one else can claim they have Manuka honey because the bees go to that tree which only grows in New Zealand. Okay, so it's a very powerful differentiator. And then they have created this concept of active honey, like having properties, curative properties, kind of a medicinal honey. Yeah. So, let's say the nice part is they have created the brand. The ongoing international success of Manuka honey is actually helping the regular New Zealand honey, and they also promote it as a possibility to invest in New Zealand. So like we have these companies growing, and you'll see how fast they are growing, and it's now a good time to invest in them. So it also attracts, let's say, a good country image, creates support for a good product image, which creates support for foreign investment image in retail. So the funny part is they've got this concept of Manuka honey, like medicinal honey, okay, which is the most expensive in the world, but then you could leverage it into foods, beverages, nutraceuticals, and also healthcare and beauty products and so on. And we'll see what they did. So this is how the exports increased from $5 million in 2000 to $206 million in 2016, an increase of 40 times in 26 years. Is this fast enough for you? It's like more than double each year. The Union said we banned the imports of honey from China because of poor quality of the products. You don't even know if it's natural honey or not. It's they feed the bees with sugar and so on. Yeah. So they started from here, and here they moved to a price which is 6 times higher. And then this was 2010, and in 2016, look at the differences. So all the exports of New Zealand, there were like more than half of the Chinese exports on the world market, but look at the prices. So Chinese had to ship 10 times more honey to the world than New Zealand to make the same amount of money. New Zealand, $21.5 per kilogram, China 2.1, so 10 times higher. And New Zealand moved from the situation where my country is today, from selling most in bulk, like in big barrels, to say 51% in 2009, to 6% in 2016. So now they ship to UK, to US, to Romania, but in jars, and a higher value. So, this is the, so we see here the bulk, the barrels, the 300 liters products were bigger than the retail packs. Now, the retail packs is the majority of exports. Yeah. Which means, instead of selling the honey with 3 euros per kilo, you sell it with 20 euros per kilo. Much better. Yeah. Now, if we go to the shelf of a UK supermarket, you've got the private labels, and look where New Zealand products are. Super premium active Manuka, which is actually the most expensive type of honey you could buy in a supermarket. Is this the brand image you want to get to? Yeah. Obviously, yes. Yeah. So, look at the price differences. You buy this jar, it's £2, almost £3. But if you buy Manuka, it's 44 pounds. So, let's say a Romanian honey producer must sell a lot of barrels in order to make the same amount of money New Zealand is doing by shipping a small quantity of jars with honey.
Is the real as good as its price, or just more marketing?
No, but it's all about branding. Is it worth to pay 300,000 euros for a Ferrari instead of 30,000 for a... I don't know. But if people are paying...
The Ferrari is fast and beautiful. Is honey the same?
Okay, they have scientific studies saying it has healing, curative properties and blah blah. But it's, I mean, it's 20 times more expensive.
And it depends
I mean,
on
trust
the
me,
person.
it's the marketing part of it. It's what matters. Yeah. I can give you an example because in my business school, we've got a low-cost MBA which costs 5,000 euros, and then for 2 years. And then you've got a 15,000 euros MBA. One offers a degree from Paris, the other one offers a degree from Montreal. The first one you go to Paris, the second one you go to Montreal. The idea is, there are people willing to pay 3 times for the same knowledge, because you teach, I don't know, managerial finance in both of them, and marketing management in both of them, and so on. But I managed to find this image to differentiate, okay, these kind of people go there, but if you really reach and, I don't know, the second generation of entrepreneur in Romania and you want to get better and blah, blah, you have to pay 15,000 to... And then here you've got French professors for half of the subjects, here you have Canadian professors. So you find differences, okay? Because, for example, this university in Montreal has this joint degree programs in 13 countries. So you can go to Vietnam and Montreal, you could go to Mexico and Montreal, you could go to Paris and Montreal, you could go to Warsaw in Poland and Montreal, and so on. So you could connect to a network of alumni which is higher than the network of alumni of this Paris university. And that's why you've got 30 people paying 5,000 euros and 15 people paying 15,000. Okay, so that's the same idea here. You have to differentiate. Find, capitalize on the competitive advantages, come up with a story, have a market, and the market would test to say if your brand image is worth paying that premium, that money difference. As you see here for the Manuka honey, it increased 10 times in 20 years. You know, it's a high jump in price. Then what they can do is go for food and beverages, go as an ingredient in cosmetics, go for natural health products and medical treatment. And actually, there is room to grow. Okay, so now they sell jars of honey, in the future, they can do this. Okay, like cereal bars with Manuka honey. And, I don't know, vodka with Manuka honey, and green tea with Manuka honey, and
Everything with Manuka honey.
I don't know, mother milk with Manuka honey. Yeah.
Soap.
Then cosmetics, soap, shampoo. What is this?
Something with Manuka honey.
Treatment masks. Okay, so you've created a brand, you could leverage on that. And here you've got the healthy products. Okay, like children elixir, I don't know what's that. Throat spray. Yeah, like Strepsils or... Okay, so and imagine, instead of selling a jar with 40 pounds, you sell 2 lollipops with 40 pounds. You go even further. Yeah. Then you've got medical products, like, what's this? Manuka Care. Okay, Terra honey, like therapy with honey. All kind. You imagine these are not cheap products. Okay, these are expensive products. Now, potential for our countries. So we've seen the best national image for exporting in the world, and this case with Manuka honey. So New Zealand obtains $21 per each kilo of honey they export. Italy obtains almost $5, but it only exports 38 million. You see, the champion here is Ukraine, especially after the opening of the EU market, but they have to sell a lot because they have the smallest, the cheapest price. Then Romania sells 41.5 million with $4, and Moldova just 8.8 million with an average price per kilo of 2.8. And we didn't have data for, I didn't find any data for Armenia, and Georgia's exports, it's very low. What do you think? Is there room to grow? Let's say from here not to 20, but to 10. So we could easily, let's say Ukraine exports $100 million, yeah? What if next year, instead of exporting bulk products, they start doing their own label, creating this image of, I don't know, sunflowers from Ukraine and sunny Ukraine and happy bees and stuff, and with the same quantity, getting 200 million out of the honey exports. Do you think it's possible? Probably yes, but somebody needs to invest in that. Okay? So, my customers, it's actually 2 companies. One of them, they have the same owners. One of them sells conventional honey. The other one sells organic honey, bioproduct certified. They have together 25% out of this 41 million. And nowadays they export products in bulk barrels to different countries in Europe. And I help them finance a new production line so they could create their own brand and sell directly to, I don't know, Carrefour and to retailers abroad, and attack the retail market with smaller packages. But it doesn't happen overnight. It's going to take probably 1.5 years, 2 years until you've got the factory, you've got the brand, it's all protected, you open up new distribution channels, and you start seeing that with the same quantity of honey you export, you get more money out of it. Okay? Now, somebody talked about the wine. So, Italy, a lot of wine at this price per kilo, per liter. Georgia, it's the champion here. Yeah, congratulations. 130 million. The same price as Italy, which is important. Yeah. Moldova, okay, you beat us 4 times, but this is the price.
But we beat twice. It just...
I know, but you have to sell a lot of wine compared to us to get to that $100 million. Okay? So you're getting more money, but you're selling cheaper wine, which is not a good brand image. Romania, yeah, so in wine we're actually not as good as in honey, but at least we sell pretty high. Ukraine lower than us, and mostly to Russia, and mostly very cheap. And Armenia just 6 million with a higher price than Romania. And here, wine of Moldova, so you already got the sectorial brand, and probably this is an explanation of that difference, 100 million compared to 22. Yeah. Because basically we have the same tradition in wine growing. Yeah, and you would expect Romania has larger surfaces cultivated with grapes and more than 100 wineries and so on. And still, we're too focused on the internal market and not focusing on the exports of this kind of products. Okay, and this is my message to each of your countries. Find the right product. Find the product where you're good at, where you can sell premium, not cheap. Build this image.
I have a question. Okay, regarding this, I can in the end.
I think there are like 2 more slides. Okay? As you see, I'm a professor, so I could talk for hours. I don't have any problem with it. And now you are lucky because last week I put on an apparatus for my teeth, otherwise it would be worse as a discourse. Yeah. So, obviously country of origin influence the brand equity, the awareness, the perceived quality of the product, the loyalty, the brand associations, the buying intentions. So brands have 2 options. To say, yes, I'm proud to be Swiss, Victorinox, Swiss Army. Or to say, I'm reliable antivirus. If you ask people in Romania, everybody thought RAV means Romanian antivirus. This country of origin image of your country as an export market, as a source of exports, may be different. So we've got this company in Romania. They do something like, they even got a prize in Geneva for a kind of innovation. You do welding for in vacuum environments. You use it in industry. Okay? So this company, what they did, when they went to Russia, let's say, or China, they used the Romanian brand because Romania has a history in petrochemicals. But when they did, they went to US customers, they had to buy this company from Switzerland, which actually had a not so advanced technology as compared to the Romanian technology, but when people in the, let's say, refineries in the US, they want to sign a deal with a Swiss company, not with a Romanian company. Okay, so they bought that company and use it as a vehicle for Western markets where Romania's history in petrochemicals doesn't matter. So, 2 more slides, role of government, role of the business sectors, and I'm over and then Q&A. Okay, so let's move on here. Not expect anything from the government. Yeah. What can you do as small and medium enterprises in your sector? So first of all, focus on your sector, but not just on your brand, not on competing with others. What if you could cooperate to develop a sectorial brand? Imagine you live in a village, there are 10 guest houses. What would you do first? Fight with the others to attract tourists, or put each of you 100 euros to promote the village and attract more tourists so you have what to share? It's pretty much the same thing in each industry. And this is why Romania doesn't export, because Romanian wine producers don't stay at the same table and said, okay, let's build a sectorial brand, let's invest in it, and then see which slice of the pie each of us gets. Okay? Now, obviously what the state can do, they've got the legislation and some funding and so on. First of all, the government should care about the country image and should work on it, improve it. Have a strategy, communicate about the country, then develop sectorial brands which should be in line with the country image. For example, Romania communicates that it's a rural country where nature and culture and heritage is important. It really doesn't help IT companies. You know, having Prince Charles promoting Transylvanian landscape and the Transylvanian way of life like 200 years ago, it doesn't help IT selling their software. Yeah. Encourage some value-added sectors like the IT, support SMEs for exporting, and what can you offer to them? Well, first of all, you can offer them market research and help them register their brands. And then legal support and training and offer them access to finance. And in the end, you could offer them public recognition like these guys in Singapore are doing. So there are solutions and the state can do a lot to help. But remember, we live in an economy where information matters. So access, for example, to market research is really important, and the state can do that and pay for those studies and then put them at the usage of small and medium enterprises. Yeah. And I would like to end up thanking you and showing you this website where you can register and get real-time data about the trade flows of your country, exports, imports, trade deficit, partners, and so on. It's called TradeMap. Trademap.org. All you have to do is register, say that you're coming from Armenia, coming from Georgia. Basically, if you don't come from a developed country, you don't have to pay for it. And you have access to all kind of information. And I will just show you one of them. So you get the raw data. You see how much wine Georgia exported to the world this year, in which countries, and so on. And you could also put it on a graphic form or show it on the map. Yeah. So you've got access to data. You can use it to find target markets. Just choose your industry, develop a sectorial brand, choose your markets, and go for it. You know which is your strength point, which products are the one you're proud of. You can capitalize on the country image, okay? And then contribute to the economic development of your country. That's it. Thank you.